Hi, I'm Andrecia.
And I'm Carolyn.
Welcome to The Color of Success, where we showcase, motivate, and celebrate culture, creativity, and success of ordinary people, and we're discussing real-life issues that's important to you.
I need to know what's the color. What's the color?
I want to thank you all for joining us today. We are going to continue our conversation about freedom in America for African Americans, its impediments, and the root cause of the impediments. Joining us today for this discussion is the one and only original Mr. Rick Ross, known as Mr. Freeway, Ricky Ross.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ross is joining us because he is going to be an expert in this subject matter. And so we're looking forward to hear what you have to say.
Me too. Absolutely. And with that, I'd like to start off by asking you a question. I mean, there's been documentaries done, there's been movies done, there's been so many things done in regards to your life or a spinoff of your life and your involvement with the Contra scandal and incidents and things like that. Do you feel that these documents portrayed your life correctly?
In some form, you know, some of them are a little off here and there, but for the most part, I've been hidden around, you know, in the area, you know, maybe not the bullseye.
Okay.
But it's hard to hit the bullseye. Even for myself, when I wrote my book, it was harder for me to remember every single thing that happened in my life. So what you try to do is you try to be as accurate as you can with the portrayal and with the documentation, because you know that it's history and you're hoping that history is as true and as accurate as you can get it.
And that it definitely is history.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the documentary?
Which one? The one I did or the one that BET did?
I know that there was a documentary like 2 months ago, and I have been waiting and waiting to see this documentary, and so much was going on with my life, I totally forgot to watch it. For those of us out there, the audience out there that doesn't know your background, doesn't know anything about the documentary, can you give us some background on it?
Well, this documentary, I had dreamed of doing this documentary when I was in prison because I thought it was so important that mainly young people, but just people in general, to get an understanding of what it takes to become a drug dealer or a drug kingpin, or just to be involved with drugs. You know, how users start to use, how the whole business evolutionized, I guess you would say.
I see.
And I felt that it was important for me to document these facts, to let it be known, so when younger people get a notion that they want to become a drug dealer, that they have something to refer to. You know, when I started selling drugs, there was nothing that I could refer to tell me if I should get involved with drugs, if I shouldn't get involved with drugs. It was just what people told me on the streets, and what I found out about when people tell you about the drug business on the street, you usually don't get the facts.
That's right, that's right. Well, you know, just for a quick recap, our last episode, we had human rights activist Najee Ali on the show, and he told us that African Americans are they're not really experiencing the fullness of freedom.
Oh, absolutely.
In the 21st century.
I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, how do you feel they're not experiencing the fullness of freedom?
Well, for the first thing, knowledge is so important. Without knowledge, it's hard for you to function in this society. And guess what? Knowledge costs money.
And we're blind, so without knowledge, it makes us blind.
Absolutely.
And we don't have any money.
We definitely broke. I saw a survey maybe like 4 weeks ago. I have a young attorney out here in LA, Antonio Moore, and he's a research fanatic.
Sure.
I mean, I get so many numbers and stats that sometimes it bogs me down, but when I start to speak and do my speeches and stuff like that, it really helps me.
Absolutely.
He gave me one a couple weeks ago, and the guy who originally wrote the article, he tried to boost the income of blacks
Okay.
by saying that the average black family of 6 had $10,000 in savings, but he had, I think it was 10,000, maybe a little less, maybe 7. But anyway, he had put the car inside of that
Wow.
equation.
Like it's an asset.
Like
This
it
is
was an asset.
But it depreciates.
And Antonio hit him up.
Every time you drive.
Hit him up on it and was like, how can you put a car into this category? Well, after they got the guy to correct it, they came back and said the average family of 6 only had $1,500 in savings.
Wow.
Wow.
That's not even a month's rent for, you know, a 2-bedroom apartment here in Los Angeles, in the average.
A 1-bedroom apartment in a single in Pasadena.
That's right.
So that lets you know the condition that we are in as black people, and that's 6 people.
Okay.
6 people.
Yeah, you know, most of us don't
household
even
of
have
6.
6 friends.
That's right.
Because we don't believe in
Wow.
sticking together.
So
and-
economics is an impediment.
Economics.
That
well,
you are
that's what I
identifying.
took on.
Okay.
When I was in prison, I felt that the best way that I could help my people was with economics, absolutely.
Well, besides economics impeding our growth towards freedom, what are some other issues that you can think of?
Well, when you add economics, I mean,
Got knowledge, economics.
when you say economics, you cover the
Cover it
whole
all.
realm, because
Encompass
now you're talking
wealth,
about a person who don't have a house.
Knowledge.
You don't have a place to live, so you
assets.
living on the streets. How can you be spiritually, mentally, anything stable? You can't. Or if you're living in a house and you don't know if you're gonna get evicted next week, then your whole thinking becomes, how do I stay in this house? How do I protect my kids so my kids don't be on the
Sure.
street? You're not thinking about going to college, getting no degree.
No.
You're not thinking about finding a job that's gonna pay you in 2 weeks. You know,
Yeah.
you need help right now, and I believe that that's the state that we're in as African Americans.
Is it poor planning, do you think? Do you think it's poor planning on our part that suddenly we're in these predicaments that we're reacting to our situation opposed to rolling out a plan like some of the other ethnic groups here in this country?
Well, I believe that slavery had a big effect on it, because slavery took away everything that we
Sure.
had.
Sure.
And everything that we know, we were taught by somebody else.
Sure.
So nobody never equipped us with the information that I believe we need as a people to progress economically.
Wow.
Okay. So, I mean,
Interesting.
what do you feel are some of the other issues that hold us back? I mean,
Low self-esteem.
low self-esteem. All right, low
I mean,
self-esteem.
we
What do you think the root cause of the low self-esteem is?
well, the like of not knowing who you are, where you come from. You know, say for instance, when I went to prison, I didn't know that my people built the pyramids.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that
You
Africans.
didn't even know that Egypt was in Africa, right?
I didn't know that.
Because they told you it was in the Middle East.
I didn't know that these people were working with metal
Yes.
before anybody else in the world was working with metal. It was things that when you don't know about yourself, then you can be brainwashed into believing that you're a drug dealer, or that you're a Crip, or you're a thug.
Or this is the best thing for you. This is
Absolutely.
the only thing for you.
This is all you can do.
This is what you can do.
This is all you can do. You can't read. You know, I didn't learn how to read or write till I was 28 years old. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did.
But I was totally illiterate.
I read.
And I believed that I couldn't read. So when I believed that, I wouldn't try.
And then you graduated from high school, right?
No, I didn't graduate, but I was in the 12th grade because the
Okay.
teachers had just been
Passing you
progressing.
along from
rolling me
grade to
along.
grade.
Because I was a good kid. You know, I didn't cause problems, so let him go
Yeah.
through. You know,
Yeah. They do that a lot with us, unfortunately.
absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, I mean, how do we get our stability as the African American family? What can we do to attain some stability so that we don't fall into those pitfalls along the way?
Well,
What
we
can
have
we
to
do?
we have to start educating ourselves, and I'm not talking about the general education that they teach you in school. We have to know that we are important without the Nikes. You know, a lot of our kids now they won't go to school without wearing a pair of Air Jordans or the latest jeans or
The KDs. That's
you
the
know,
new one out now.
just the trinkets that people feel make them important. You know, it took me some time to learn that I was important without any of that. You know, I was born important.
How about that? How about it? How about that? That's the first success that anybody ever experiences, is actually being conceived and being birthed through. It doesn't get any better than that. That's a phenomenon within itself.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
right
once
there.
we understand those principles, then we can start to thrive and compete with anybody. You know, like now, I don't think that there's nobody on the planet that's any smarter than me.
Oh no. Okay. You're absolutely
And I'm
right.
willing to compete with any of them, you know,
Be a
on
top
any
contender.
level. You know, there may be somebody that knows more about programming computers than I do.
Oh, sure.
But can you do the whole package better than me?
Right.
And that's what we have to learn as a people, that, yeah, you're going to run into people that's better than you in the field, but that don't make them better than you.
Yeah.
That don't make them any greater than you are, because I believe that we are all just as great as any of us. I don't care if you Bill Gates, you're the richest man in the world, his life is no better than mine as far as I'm concerned. And my life is no better than yours or anybody else.
You know, when Najee Ali was here, he quoted something that President Barack Obama said, when he said that one of the biggest problems that we're experiencing as African Americans is the loss of the father in the home.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So with all that said, because you're a man,
and I grew up without my father.
and you grew up with, I read that you grew up with your
And my kids grew
father.
up without their father.
And so my question to you is this: what effect does that have on the average kid? And because you're male, I'd like to hear it too from a male's perspective, emotionally, psychologically, and your ability to learn to aspire to greatness.
Well,
How
the
does
first
that affect
thing,
it?
I was always looking to cling on to a man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, somebody that could take me to a level that my mom couldn't take me.
Yes.
You know, my mom couldn't teach me how to be a man, so my life was looking for men that could do that. And that's how I ran into the drug dealer. Because
Gotcha.
I went to a drug dealer. The number one mistake I made in my life was going to a drug dealer, asking him how to make money.
Okay.
You know, and
Because you didn't have that leadership at home, right, to tell
Absolutely.
you something differently.
Absolutely.
When you're a little boy, and I think this is something that all the men out there need to understand, and even women, because today, for the first time in our culture, in history, the black woman has started to abandon the kids. You know, that was unheard of.
Absolutely.
You know, when we were kids, the man would leave, but you mama's baby, always.
right.
Today, a lot of kids are being birthed into this world without anyone whatsoever. Can you tell us, from a little boy, if you could recollect what that felt like emotionally, what it did to your heart? Can you put that in words for us?
I could give you an example. You know, my mom was taken from me as well. My father had left my mom when I was 4. My mom moved to California.
Okay.
And when we got here, we were living with my uncle and my auntie. Well, we had an incident where my mom killed her brother.
Oh, okay.
And she was taken away from me for a period of time. And here I am in this big city, even though I had aunts and stuff out here, but I really didn't know them.
Right.
You know, I'd only knew my mom and my brother.
How old were you when you came here?
I was like 4 years old.
So you're just emotionally. I mean, can you remember emotionally
I was
what
torn.
you felt like
I was
you're ripped to
torn.
pieces,
Yeah,
right?
I was scared.
Yeah.
You know, was my mom ever
Right.
going to come back? Was she gone for good? You know, I mean, those are the kind of things that a kid goes through when their parents are taken away from them, or whoever it is that they bond to and they feel connected to and feel secure around. And I think it's very important, you know, for our kids to feel secure with themselves and with the people around them.
I was wondering, and I think that everybody wonders this in America, mainly because it happens more in the Black community than any other community. What is really causing our men to leave their family? And better yet, I'm not an advocate of saying you need to stay somewhere just for the sake of the kids, because sometimes men and women just don't get along after a while. But why leave the kids behind? Why is it that it looks as though it's so easy for the Black man to get up and walk away as though he never left?
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Black men right now. I mean, if
Can you
look,
explain some of those pressures?
If you look at the average Black man, he's expected to be a millionaire.
Why do you
everybody.
think that? Why do you?
That's just the way society looks at him. I mean, look at the role models for Black men.
Like the superstars and
That's the only thing that they expect you to be is a superstar. They don't expect you to be a plumber
average
or a cab driver.
Okay.
They don't expect a Black male to be that.
Okay.
You know, when a mother has a young Black male, the first thing she wants to know is
the mother. It's like, I want you to be the best.
Not just the
but
mother.
people in general.
Okay.
I'm saying even the mother.
Okay.
You know, they want their kid to catch a football
Be
and
the
run with
best.
it, pass a football, dribble a basketball, hit a baseball, or rap,
Okay.
or sing. I don't think that we're teaching our kids that it's okay to be a book author or a doctor or a trash man or a plumber. So when you put the pressure on a person that he has to be a millionaire, then there's only a few things that you can do that can make you a millionaire.
Quickly.
And drug dealing happens to be one that's right there in the community and convenient. And when you sell drugs, in order to be successful, you have to neglect a lot of people and a lot of things. And that means sometimes stand on a street 24 hours in one day or every day, 7 days a week, and people get neglected when you do that.
Is it a lot of pressure on the young Black boy to, when the father is absent, to take on that leadership role and say, Mommy, I can do it, and I can take care of us. I'll make it better. Do you feel that kind of pressure where they're kind of forced into the streets, like, I'm gonna make things better for my mommy, because my mommy is sad, and I could get us something to eat.
Well, no male, I mean, for a male, he's been taught that he's supposed to be the breadwinner. You know, you're supposed to be the protector. You're the leader. You're supposed to take care of financially things when things are not right financially. It's your job to go out and take care of that. And absolutely, I totally agree, because that's how I felt. I was tired of my mom living in a house with holes in the floor, with roaches, with rats, and windows broken, and you know, people sending eviction notices and cutoff notices to the house because it wasn't enough money. You know, I was tired of the refrigerator being empty. You know, at the end of the month, when there was no food stamps, you know, it'd be rice and beans or leftover rice and beans from 3 or 4 days ago.
How old were you when you decided that you were going to get out there and start hustling and to make this happen?
19, right before I was turning 20.
Okay.
You know, my tennis career I decided that my tennis career was no longer an option.
Yes.
That I wasn't going to make it in tennis.
Because you didn't have the academics to
I
get
didn't
the
have
scholarship.
academics, yes.
So that cut you off right there. Knowledge
Cut me off again.
cut you off.
And the fact that even, you know, now that I look back at myself, if I would have had the knowledge that I have now, then I could have took myself even from the position when they turned me down from a scholarship and still turned myself into a tennis pro had I had the knowledge that I have now. But the lack of knowledge made me believe that the only way that I could get in
any other options, right?
was through college, or there was no other option.
There's no other way to do it. And you didn't have anybody there to direct you.
Nobody
Like when you
was
look
there.
at Serena and her sister and Venus Williams, the dad pulled them out of that
Well, you know, I knew
traditional
they dad.
route and said, no,
I knew they
girls,
dad.
we could do it this way.
He was a firm.
Nurtured them. Nurtured
He was
them.
firm.
Yeah.
And he also had a vision that I didn't have at 27 years. I met them when I was around 26 or 27.
Okay.
And I didn't have the vision that their father had. I had the money, and he didn't have the money, but he had the vision and the know-how and the dedication and determination to see that his daughters made it.
So, question to you. You talked about really how young blacks get involved in drug distribution, drug use, probably the depression, the low self-esteem, and the whole bit. Do you think, from your experience, when you look at the big picture in retrospect, do you think that all this is by design, by an executive branch of the government? For instance, do you think that there are codes already set in place by certain individuals that come into office that says, you know what, we're not going to, they're not important to us. This group of people, they're not important to us. And so, you know, that's not what we're going to focus on. Do you think there's codes like that? Do you think also that you were selected, hand selected by the Reagan administration to do what you were able to do and to succeed at that level? Because in the history of our country, I can't remember ever reading about any black man that was involved in drug and arm distribution, especially warhead type arms at that level. You know, you hear about the Russians and people like that. You never hear about a black man.
Right.
And so were you handpicked, and was it decided to allow the distribution of that drug to come into the ports of Long Beach and San Francisco to make it to South
Well,
Central
you know,
LA first?
I would have to take a page out of Gary Webb's book, and I think he said it the best, that he don't know if it was designed or not,
but it sure was
but it
convenient.
wound up happening anyway,
Yes.
that way, you know. So was it designed or not designed? The government allowed drugs to be brought into the country. That's a fact.
Right.
Nobody
It's a
can argue
fact.
with that because they said on
Nobody
their
can
own
argue
record
with
that,
that.
yes, we
We
allowed
did.
our people.
I read it. I read the transcript. So I read the I read the John Kerry report,
Right.
where Oliver North says, okay, it got to a point where when the Contras went rogue and they decided we'd make some more money ourselves, that it was written that, okay, you know what, that's really the best way to finance this war in the first place and the quickest, because initially it was going down between Oliver North and the traffickers.
Right.
And then it made its way to you, and you became the person. And that's why when I read it, and I was reading about Danilo and the whole bit, I was like, it looks like he was handpicked and
Right.
maybe not even be aware of it.
And so like Gary said, does it matter if I was handpicked, or does it matter if it came from the executive branch? Once they know
Yes.
that it happened, then it's just like they planned it.
Yeah.
Because whatever repercussions come from what you initiate, then you have to take responsibility of the end result.
Absolutely.
You know, it's what they call conspiracy. Professor Jody Armour down at USC called it implicity, I think is what he said it was that the government did, meaning that if you stand by the door while I'm robbing a bank,
You robbing
and
the bank
I kill
with me.
somebody while I'm in the bank, well, you get the murder too.
Yeah, that's true. That's how it works.
What actually happened with the government is they did allow these people to bring the drugs in.
But only you and Oliver North got the murder.
Yeah, you got the
See,
worst
only
of it.
you and Oliver North got the.
We
you
got
guys-
600,000 black men in prison right now today
Yeah,
for selling drugs that the government
you're right.
set into motion.
I'm glad you
So
clarified
they're
that.
all paying the price.
Yes.
Their mothers is paying the price, their kids are
Absolutely.
paying the price,
Their
their dad is
families.
paying the
Right,
price.
right.
So it's a lot more people that's paying the price, and it's a lot more people that's benefiting from it. Now, the same attorney that I was telling you about, he sent me a survey a couple weeks ago, or article, where this one private prison is suing the state because they said the state is not sending enough inmates to their prison like they agreed.
Yeah.
You agreed to keep us 95% capacitated.
And do you know why? Because the prisons are now being built and funded by Nike and big corporations. See, they're in bed in
Michael Jordan?
It's the prison industry is part of private industry now. So it's got to be money making. It's like you need to go out and get these men
So
so that we can make our money back.
So it goes back
right?
to what? Economics.
Economics.
all over again.
Quotas.
But then,
Economics, that's
but
right.
then does it go back to who's being targeted? Like, why is this group? Why?
Well, you're talking
why
to
are
people
there
who don't
more-
have any economical powers.
So
And
they're an
that's
easy
us.
target. It
They're
could be
easy
anybody.
targets. They
That's
can't. They
us.
can't fight back. Why? What do you need to fight with in court? If you go to court and you want to fight in court, guess what you need?
You have nothing to protect yourself.
Money.
You need
You
money.
need money. You need to hire your top gun. He's going to charge you $1,000, $1,500 an hour to get the best ones.
That's right.
Even more. And our people don't
God
even
forbids
have.
if he goes
how
and
much, how
hires
much
a
money do they say
consultant.
people have? In
$1,500 in savings, a family of 6.
So you're gonna get an hour and a half of work.
And
Go with the
let me
public
just
defender.
say, that, like I said, we have the largest, level of poverty in the whole entire country, and we have never evolved. Other ethnic groups are coming here as foreigners, and they have more economic power than we do, and we're natives of this country.
Yeah, but they would never practice. Jim Crow was never practiced on them.
That's true.
That's true.
So how do we get past Jim Crow? What do we do? That's why you're here. You're a master
Yes.
at this. You've seen the big picture. Where do we start?
Well, we need somebody who can come out of the system, and I believe that I'm not of the system.
Okay.
I mean, I lived in it, but I've always been a rebellion of this system. When I sold drugs, I thought that I was rebelling against the system. I didn't know that the government was the ones behind me. And I never knew that. I mean, that right there would have turned me off to find out that I'm working.
That probably would have
For the
stopped you
government.
right then and there, huh? In
Yeah,
your
it
tracks,
would.
like you're using me, really?
Yeah, to
okay.
attack my people,
Yeah.
So I believe that I have a total different philosophy than most of the people who, like with me, I didn't try to accumulate wealth so that I could snap my nose at everybody. That's why I can go to any ghetto in this country and walk the streets, and most of our celebrities can't do that.
Okay.
When they go to the ghetto, they got to have bodyguards, they got to have the police station behind them. They're afraid of the people. With me, I can go because the people gonna protect me.
Yeah.
They are my bodyguard.
Yeah.
They are my security force.
They're gonna make sure you're okay.
They're gonna make sure I'm okay because they understand that I am of them, and I haven't. What is it called when you take yourself away from the people?
Sold out, kind of sold out. Or...
Sold out is one word for it. That wasn't what I was looking for though. But so many of our people have accumulated wealth only so that they can say that I'm not one of them.
Look at what I
That's
got.
true.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna end this conversation. We're nearing the end of this episode, but we're gonna continue our conversation with Mr. Rick Ross. And talk a little bit more about it.
That was 30 minutes that fast? Man.
But we have so much to talk to you about, and
There's a
the
ton
people
of
want to
information.
hear. I mean, I wish we could do 3 shows on you. Maybe you'll stay a little longer so that we can,
Maybe
right?
so.
I'm sure
our
the
people
public will
definitely
love
need,
that.
They definitely need what the
Some
things
more of
that
that
I
information.
learned about myself and about thinking and about just being here is just crazy.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to return with Mr. Rick Ross, the reinvention of Rick Ross. Thank you so much. Until next time, I'm Tricia Averett.
And I'm Carolyn.
And this is The Color of Success.
So